Welcome back, all my friends out there on YouTube and in the reptile community. I hope everyone has had an amazing New Year, amazing Christmas, and we are making some fantastic 2022 resolutions and ready to really jumpstart this brand new year. I have some family members from Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas coming to visit, and I figured this was my 100th video post here on YouTube, and it'd be fun to include these guys in my 100th video. So who do we got here? Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? What's your name? We got Alani, and who do we got over here? Lincoln. We got Lincoln and Alani joining me in an episode of Prehistoric Companions today. I've been sharing some of my lizards with these kiddos. They really like the bearded dragons and my latest and newest companions to the Prehistoric Companion family. So today we're going to go ahead and start part 2 of the Boa tank enclosure design. So I've already gotten quite far on this. We've got foam laid out. We've got our branches adjusted in there. We've got the foam carved and grouted. It's still a work in progress, but let's see what we can get done in today's video. Alrighty, so I'm just about done carving everything, the initial layer. I'm really happy with how the carving is looking. I'm trying to create kind of really naturalistic, jagged, rock-like forms. So next I'm gonna go ahead and there's a couple places that I need to keep carving and fill in some gaps with a little bit more foam, let that cure, carve a little bit more. But I've also got a piece of 1/4-inch plexi here that I'm gonna use to fit inside of here. I got some aquarium safe silicone. I'm gonna silicone this plexi inside of here to create a water feature for this tank. That'll also help keep the humidity up some for the boa or other future species that I might potentially house in this environment. So we'll have a nice water feature. When you're working with this great stuff, this expanding foam or other materials that I have in today's video, it's really important to have these gloves because that stuff, rubber gloves, vinyl gloves, you really want to have those because this stuff is really sticky and it does not like to come off your hands. So do yourself a favor, scoop up some of these. I have 2 or 3 plant potter mechanisms down here. I siliconed my PVC pipe that I scooped up at the hardware store, but also got some plastic cups and drilled holes in the bottom of those cups and placed them in various places around the tank here. So I definitely want to make sure that the water from the plants is able to drain out, have a drainage layer or a place for excess water to escape so the plants don't drown. While the extra foam and silicone plexi is curing, I can kind of start mapping out and planning which areas I'm going to do sanded grout, and then I'm also going to silicone some other areas and disperse some eco earth and cocoa husk and cork bark to give really naturalistic background and more diversity in the background. Okay, let's get you guys a little close up about all the carvings. So we see the surface of the foam is quite porous. So now when I add silicone and sanded grout to this, it'll adhere to the foam quite nicely. So I've already started to get I cut a piece of plexi out. Got that siliconed in there, gonna let that cure. I'm gonna fill in the rest of that space up with foam. And I've also got some drainage pipes covered with some mesh so none of the isopods or other cleanup crew can get inside where these grow beds are going to get rid of any excess water. because I'm adding a water feature to this, that will definitely help and keep the humidity up, because I do intend to keep tropical species in here, like my Central American Boa. And the water feature we have down here, we have the plexi sealed in there. So far so good. That's cured, so I'm ready for another layer. I've got a filter in here to keep the water clean. I do intend to probably get a couple different little fish to swim around in here as well. Hopefully the boa won't eat them. So one thing that I forgot to do, I had to go back and put in this PVC pipe. I had to punch a hole and cut out some foam so I could stick that pipe in there. I'm going to refoam that and disguise this cord so it's not running through the tank. And I'll be able to unplug it and feed the cord down that tube and be able to remove the filter if I need to, replace the filters in there, easy to access. If the water feature doesn't keep the humidity up where I need it to be, I'll probably need to modify these screen tops. Maybe I was thinking about just siliconing over using a popsicle stick to spread the waterproof or aquarium safe silicone. Not the whole thing, but of course leave like a section out so I could put like UVB lighting or something, some plant lights, or maybe even a heat source for the specimen living in this tank. I could silicone a portion of this off, spread it, make it smooth, and that'll help keep more of the humidity inside. Okay, so I got some masking tape and I began to kind of tape off some sections of the glass just to kind of control some of the splatter. And I started to, got a cheap paintbrush and I started to just dab on the first layer of sanded grout here. I'm gonna do probably about 3 or 4 layers and get everything nice and coated and covered. Once that cures and dries, I'm going to adhere some silicone and eco earth and sphagnum moss and disperse it in different areas to give more of a natural look. I'm not worrying too much about some of this splatter, because once all that dries, I could just take my utility blade, my razor blade here, and just scrape that away and wipe it down. It cleans real easy. But this is the first layers, getting to work on that. That plate in there, that plexi, is all siliconed. Haven't quite tried it yet. Hopefully there will be no leaks. I put several layers of silicone, so I think it will work quite nicely. So Lincoln and Alani, what do we tell the subscribers? Like, what do we tell them what they need to do with the channel? Do they need to like, share, subscribe?
Like and share, guys.
Like and share and subscribe. Appreciate you guys very much.
Share this video with all your friends.
Share the videos with all your friends. We have, and
Be nice to your friends.
be nice to your friends. Absolutely. You guys heard these kiddos. We have 200 subscribers now here on Prehistoric Companions, so I want to give a special thank you to all of you guys who took the time to hit that like button and subscribe. Thank you for being interested in the content of the channel. Hope you guys are enjoying it. I'm trying to bring more custom tank designs to you guys and other interesting things. Okay, so I got this thing home and continuing to still work on it. I've been working on this thing over at my parents' house, but now I'm gonna get a utility blade and start working my way around the edges of all this grout that I have set up and cured and dried in here. And I'm just gonna scrape away the excess. I've also got just here a clear plastic cup, disposable cup with a cheap brush. I'm gonna do some touch-ups. I got all my extra grout here. I still have quite a bit of grout left over. I did this 40-gallon tank, and I also acquired 2 new bearded dragons, so I did 2 20-gallon long tank setups, kind of naturalistic interior, again with this 1 bag of grout. Once that layer is finally sealed, I have here a gallon of eco-friendly grout sealer. No toxins, no VOCs, no solvent odors. This is a matte sheen. I want this to look as realistic and natural as possible. So this seals brick, wood, concrete, pavers, sanded grout. So this will be safe for the animal over the long run. I'll put a couple layers of this stuff on as well. So it's just a process, letting letting the grout dry, and then scraping, and then vacuuming all the extra pieces out of here, and then finally sealing, a couple layers of that, and letting the different layers dry in between. So let's go ahead and get back to scraping. So after about several hours of scraping with my utility blade and cleaning up the edges and all the splatter grout, all of the extra eco-friendly sealer that I did not want visible through the tank, I got it all cleaned up. I did happen to find some other grout that I had laying around different colors, so I started experimenting and layering multiple colors on top of each other. Once I get all this tank set up and get it properly lit, I'll get some real nice detail shots of just the texture of the walls and how I had completed the finish on everything in here. I've been adding extra silicone, just extra reinforcement. I have this tendency to overbuild things. I definitely want this to be built to last. I want it to function properly. I want to make sure that because I'm going to have a water feature in here that everything is really nicely sealed. I did find this really cool large hide that just so happens to fit in here quite nicely over that heat pad underneath there, so that the boa or other future species will have nice access, close contact, get as close as they can to that heat pad there. I'm going to run a probe down through the tank, maybe off to the side, somewhere out of the way, so I don't have like a random cord going through the tank. Place that probe underneath there so that it can maintain a consistent temperature for, well, with the boa I'll have it set for 90 degrees on that hot spot. But I'll also have maybe a heat lamp, low wattage halogen bulb or something along those lines up here as a basking spot in case the critter, the boa, just so happens to come out and wants to bask in the branches. Of course, I'll have other plant lights in here because I have a plant pot right here. I have 3 of them right here. I have this one, I have one right here, and then one over here. Then I have this guy right here, so I still need to clean that out. I'm going to lay down some circular clay pebbles in there. It's a drainage substrate layer. I'll place some of those clay balls down in there and then lay just a little bit of thin sheet of mesh inside over the top of those clay balls, and then place my substrate, my plant substrate or soil in there, and then followed by finally planting my plants, the Sigonium, Pothos. I'm not sure what other ones I have, but they're tropical plants and they are designed to grow cultivated for tropical aquarium use. Lastly, I've even began to silicone using the aquarium safe silicone, getting some Eco Earth and some Repti Chip and creating kind of this sandy kind of texture. I'll place that in various locations and kind of break up the monotony of having so much stone structure in here. I've got some interesting branches for basking and enrichment. So for the first 5 individuals to comment in the video below in the comment section, the first 5, I'm going to send you guys some stickers, some Prehistoric Companion stickers. So be sure to, well, I'll reach out to you. The first 5, I'll private message you and let you know, hey, hit me up on my Instagram so that I can get your personal information and get some stickers sent your way. So these are some clay pebbles. This is what I'm going to be using to distribute throughout some of the grow beds for various tropical plants that I have here in this boa tank. I did get a blister actually here from all the scraping and carving and trying to clean up all the glass, all the grout splatter and eco-friendly grout sealer. I got all the edges nice and cleaned up. Just a little bit of detail work here and there. So here was the original plexi that I had siliconed into the water feature area of this tank build. I siliconed all over the surface of the plexi, and as I layered up the silicone, I distributed some various different kind of color aquarium gravel, black and kind of natural color, kind of sprinkled and mixed those around to give somewhat of a natural look and feel. I'm going to use some of these larger stones here to form a half circular rock formation to hold like kind of the smaller gravel rocks all around in here, and that half circle there will help keep smaller gravel rocks from possibly getting sucked to the side or entering the filter that I'm going to have placed right about here. So I just have some square mesh material here. I'm going to cut some various angles along down towards the center of the mesh, but not entirely all the way through the center, and then I'm going to place them inside the grow beds. As we can see here in one of the grow beds, I have some clay pebbles down there at the bottom. On top I have a layer of screen mesh that I cut lengths almost towards the center, but I wanted to have lots of nice overlay material elongating upwards towards the top of this grow bed here. So this is going to hold all of my soil nice and neat and ensure that none of the soil gets clogged up into the drainage layer down at the bottom. So this is what this kind of looks like as I was describing. I'm just making slits all around the edges of this material. Then when I place it inside the grow bed, the extra material will fold up against the walls, and each layer will overlap each other, and it'll hold the substrate in the grow beds very neatly and nicely. So now I can start filling all the grow beds with some soil, followed by adding all these guys in here. Like I said, we got some pothos, we got some sigonium. I'm not quite sure what that third plant is, but I got it from Petco. It is for tropical terrariums, vivariums, so I'm sure it'll look great and it'll do just fine. So now I have a bucket. I'm going to mix up some substrate for the ground and pack some of this material around the hide that I have on the hot spot where the heat pad is. So I've got some Repti soil here, pillow moss to help retain some more humidity. I got a bag of sphagnum moss here that I'm going to mix into the soil mixture. So then I already got a bag of broken down Pro Cocoa or coconut husk, real thick fibrous. That also is good for humidity retention. So now having this thing all cleaned up, edges nice and clean, everything's nicely sealed, I've begun to add different layers of substrate scattered kind of throughout the rocky formations to kind of break up the rock texture everywhere. Mixture. I've also incorporated some dry leaf litter that I got at the reptile store as well. That'll add just more natural look and add extra material to be broken down by the cleanup crew. I'm going to throw some dairy cow isopods in here, Porcelia laevis, and some temperate springtails. They'll help maintain the environment, keep the plants healthy, and break down animal waste. Well, and there you have it. From start to finish, this thing took several weeks, probably about 3.5, 4 weeks on and off. I'm sure if this was my full-time job, I would have had this done quite a while ago, but having a day job and having to take care of everything else around here, not enough hours in the day to create art such as this, natural landscape. One of my favorite PC games growing up was Zoo Tycoon. I loved Zoo Tycoon and designing habitats for animals. And now I think it is just so cool that I can kind of experiment with different materials and having a background in art and getting my bachelor's of fine art from New Mexico State University, emphasizing in sculptural arts and such. I can really use what I have learned and use that information and kind of design these really amazing habitats. All the materials that I've shown in today's video and create very natural looking environments. So next, I'm just going to really let everything establish in here, see how the plants are doing. I'll add my isopods and springtails. I'll have to cultivate some of those and then distribute them in here. I gotta put the doors back on this tank. Once I'll do that, I'll add my cleanup crew and I'll let this environment acclimate for a period of time, probably at least a week, maybe 2 weeks, and see how everything is doing in here, test the water features and such. Just kind of let everything start to cycle before I add in my boa. Alright, so that's a wrap for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed some of the time-lapse footage. Again, thank you so much. Be nice to your friends, right? Be nice to everybody out there.
And make sure to like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
And make sure you listen to your teacher.
Listen to your teacher. Especially listen to your teacher.
And if you don't listen, you're going to go in timeout.
Yeah, if you don't listen, you probably go in timeout. We don't want that, so you gotta be paying attention. You know, teachers are teaching important things.
Yeah. Or you can go to the principal's office.
Or you could go to the principal's office. That's
Just like Baldy.
just like Baldy.
Well, Adam's really bad because sometimes he takes my book and sometimes he punches me.
Well, that's not good.
And he
That's
goes
not
to
good
the
at all.
office.
He needs to not take your book, and he especially needs to not punch people. That's not what we do in
And
school.
bully, and sometimes he hits me. And he always takes your lunch coins.
He takes your lunch coins.
Yeah, like
You guys gotta hide them somewhere special so he doesn't know where to take them.
no, but
Like
once
in
you
your
run
shoes.
Like once you run into him, then he's like, "Give me your money."
Oh, that's where you go and tell an adult. It's okay to tell. You know, whenever, I mean, if something belongs to you and it doesn't belong to them, yeah, you need to tell an adult.
So if someone's trying to take your stuff, then you can tell. But
Oh, bless you.
if someone
Salute.
If someone accidentally runs into you and you drop your stuff, and they take it and they're trying to give it back to you, don't just go tell them now and say, he grabbed my thing or like that. Just let them just see what they're about to do. See if they're about to take it or about to give it to you.
You never know. You got to give them the benefit of the doubt.
And subscribe and make sure you listen to all your cast's teacher.
Mm-hmm. Yep, gotta listen. That's why we're in school. You gotta pay attention. We gotta be kind and respectful to everybody.
And be nice to the big kids.
And the big kids. Be nice to everybody.
Yeah, be nice to everybody.
Right on, you guys. Very well said. Well, hope you guys learned something from these smart youngsters. And with that being said, hope you guys have a fantastic week. And hope to catch you in the next episode of Prehistoric Companions. Remember, first 5 to comment below. I'm sending you guys stickers, all right?
Bye, guys.
Say bye.
Bye, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe. Bye.
Right on. Till the next one, you guys. Peace.